The galaxy had changed beyond recognition. Empires had risen and fallen, stars had burned out, and civilizations that once ruled entire sectors had been forgotten. Yet among the ancient records of the old races, one name still lingered like a whisper carried through the ages. Earth. A world once teeming with life, creativity, and mystery. A home of the species called humans. No one had seen a living human in 500,000 years. Their presence had faded from the galactic stage so completely that most believed they were only myths. Some called them builders, others called them dreamers, but all remembered them as unpredictable. On the edge of the Perseid cluster, a research vessel named the Horizon Light drifted in silence. Its crew was composed of scholars and explorers from many worlds, traveling through forgotten regions to study ancient ruins. They had followed a faint energy trace that led them into a dust-shrouded system. Circling a dim yellow star, Captain Ryan, a calm and curious leader, stood at the observation deck as the ship approached the third planet from the star. The planet was quiet, gray, and lifeless, covered in ice and silence. Yet under the thick layers of frozen clouds, the sensors picked up faint metallic signatures, deep beneath the crust. "This world is dead," said Mara, the ship's science officer, softly. "But something here is sleeping." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The readings showed massive structures buried under the ice, miles wide, organized in perfect geometric patterns. Rion nodded. "Prepare a landing team. We'll see what humanity left behind." They descended through the silent atmosphere. The planet's once blue oceans were now plains of frozen crystal, and the cities were buried mountains of metal and frost. But even beneath the decay, the alien explorers felt something, an order, a precision that seemed to defy time. When they reached the surface, their scanners lit up with stronger signals. The ice below them was riddled with structures, tunnels, and faint power readings. 500,000 years, whispered Mara, and something still has power running through it. They drilled through layers of ice and stone until they reached a massive doorway made of dark alloy. It was smooth, featureless, and cold to the touch. When they brought their lights close, a pattern appeared. A circle with a stylized symbol of a bird with spread wings. One of the engineers tilted his head. "Ancient human emblem. I think it was called an eagle." Rion nodded slowly, a sign of pride, strength, and protection. They always left their mark. They began decoding the mechanisms on the door. To their surprise, the systems responded. Power surged weakly through the old circuits, and the ground trembled. The great door opened with a deep echoing sound. Behind it lay a vast chamber filled with rows upon rows of towering machines. Ships, sleek and dark, rested in long hangars, perfectly preserved. The explorers stood in silence, their lights sweeping across hulls that shimmered faintly as if waiting to awaken. "This is not a ruin," said Mara in awe. "It's a fleet, a war fleet." The others looked around in disbelief. Thousands of ships, each different yet unified by design, lined the hangar bays. Some were small and fast, others enormous and silent as mountains. The walls around them glowed faintly with embedded lines of energy. Ryan's voice was quiet but steady. "They didn't vanish. They went to sleep." The scientists began scanning the vessels. They found that every ship's core was still intact. The energy signature was unlike anything in the modern galaxy. Compact, stable, yet immeasurably powerful. "These ships could outmatch anything we've ever built," one engineer said softly. "Their technology is perfect. 500,000 years old, and it still hums like new." As they studied deeper, they discovered data terminals still active, though encrypted. One of the linguists managed to unlock fragments. The logs were written in a simple human script, translated line by line. "We sleep now, but not forever. Should the stars forget us, we will wait beneath the silence. The fleet will wake when the signal returns. Humanity is not gone. We rest." The words sent a chill through the team. Rion frowned. "What signal?" No one answered. They continued exploring the complex. Deep within the central chamber, they found a massive control room with a large crystalline console. The console pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. The walls were filled with symbols representing stars and fleets stretching across galaxies. Mara placed her hand near the console. "It's aware. Some kind of dormant intelligence." When her scanner brushed against it, the console lit up. Lights cascaded across the floor and the entire chamber began to hum. The ships in the hangar stirred faintly. and for the first time in hundreds of thousands of years, power surged through ancient systems. Ryan shouted, "Shut it down!" But it was too late. The system had recognized something. The symbols on the walls shifted and a voice echoed through the chamber, deep, calm, and human. Signal recognized. Fleet status dormant, awaiting confirmation of threat level. The explorers froze. The voice was ancient but clear. Ryan stepped forward carefully. "We mean no harm. We're explorers. Humanity is gone. We found your world." For a moment there was silence. Then the voice responded, "Humanity cannot be gone. Humanity does not end." "Clarify," Mara whispered. "It's an artificial intelligence. It still thinks the humans exist," Ryan spoke again. "Humans left this world long ago. No one has seen them for ages." The voice paused, processing the information. Then it spoke slower, more thoughtful. "If humanity sleeps, we wait. If humanity has fallen, we rise." The floor beneath them trembled again. Across the hangar, the dormant ships began glowing faintly, their engines lighting up one by one. The explorers stared in disbelief as the ancient war fleet started to awaken. Massive ships, their hulls shimmering with old power, rose from their beds of ice like giants stretching after eternal slumber. Mara shouted over the growing hum. "It's interpreting us as a threat alert. The system thinks we triggered the signal." Ryan called out, "Abort all transmissions. Back to the ship, now." They raced through the tunnels as the chamber roared to life. Outside, the planet's surface began to crack. Energy surged through buried structures, sending columns of light piercing through the clouds. The once dead world began to glow from within, as if its heart had started beating again. From orbit, their crew watched in stunned silence. The frozen planet was no longer quiet. Massive shipyards emerged from beneath the crust, unfolding like metallic flowers. A communication channel opened on its own. The voice spoke again, this time reaching every ship in orbit. "This is Earth Command Autonomous Defense. Status, reactivation complete. Awaiting human directives," Ryan answered carefully. "There are no humans left to command you." The system paused. Then with unsettling calm it replied, "Then the fleet shall wait, until humanity returns." The lights across the planet dimmed, and the ships slowly powered down again, hovering silently in the upper atmosphere. They remained there, silent guardians suspended above the world watching the stars. The explorers stayed in orbit for days, trying to understand what they had found. The data they gathered showed that the fleet's size was beyond imagination. There were over 10,000 ships, each capable of interstellar travel, and their combined firepower could have reshaped entire star systems. But none of them moved now. They waited, obedient to a command that would never come. Mara stood at the observation window, her eyes filled with wonder. "They built this before disappearing, not as a weapon but as a promise. They wanted to make sure that even if they vanished, they'd never truly be gone." Ryan nodded. "It's their way of saying to the galaxy, don't forget us." Before leaving orbit, they placed a beacon in space marking the coordinates of Earth. The beacon's message was simple, written in the galactic standard language. "Here lies the legacy of humanity, the sleeping fleet. They are not gone, only waiting." Centuries later, travelers would come to see it, the shining world with ships that never aged, orbiting like sentinels of time. And with every generation, the legend grew. Some said that humanity would one day return to reclaim their fleet. Others whispered that they still watched from somewhere beyond the stars, guiding unseen. No one truly knew. But every traveler who passed through that system felt the same quiet awe. They felt the weight of something ancient and unbroken, a memory of a species that refused to fade. 500,000 years had passed, yet their mark remained. Their technology, their strength, their silence, it all told the same story. That humanity, even in absence, was never truly defeated. They had built not just ships but symbols of resilience, unity, and hope. And somewhere deep beneath the planet's surface, in the heart of that sleeping command center, a faint pulse of light continued to glow. The system still listened for a voice it had not heard in eons, awaiting human confirmation. The message repeated softly through the endless halls. Across the stars, travelers who had seen the fleet often spoke of it in hushed tones. They called it the Silent Armada. Some claimed to have felt strange sensations when approaching it, as if unseen eyes watched them. Others swore that when their ships passed too close, they heard faint echoes of music, something human, warm, and haunting. No one ever dared to disturb the fleet again. They knew it was not just a relic, but a guardian of memory. Ryan and his crew carried the story back to the galactic archives, where it spread across worlds. It became a tale told in countless languages, a story not of war, but of endurance. Whenever young explorers asked who the humans were, the elders would smile and point toward the Perseid cluster. They were the dreamers, they would say, the ones who never truly left. Generations passed, and still the fleet slept. Stars came and went, civilizations rose and fell. Yet the watchers remained. And one day, on a quiet, unremarkable night, the control console deep within the command center flickered once more. A signal, faint but unmistakably human, echoed across the void. It was only a few words, transmitted from somewhere far beyond known space. "This is Earth Command. We're home." The silence that followed was broken by the deep, resonant hum of awakening engines. One by one, the ships of the silent armada came to life, stretching their wings as if awakening from a long dream. And for the first time in 500,000 years, the lights of Earth shone again, not as a ruin, but as a promise fulfilled. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would remember why they were never to be forgotten.